Hello, beautiful souls. I hope you're all doing so well on this beautiful Thursday. We have the beautiful full moon in Sagittarius today, and I find that the timing couldn't be better given that we are Thursday, and Thursday is Jupiter day, and Jupiter rules Sagittarius. So definitely a lot of optimism, fire, magic energy in the air today for sure. So I wanted to come on here to build on the post I literally just wrote and shed some light on what's been going on for me, what I've been moving through, and eventually move into reading cards for the zodiac sign. So the post I just wrote highlights something I wrote last year about liberation and freedom emanating from the soul, and that true expression can only come from the soul. And I apologize if you hear all the noise in the background. I have a neighbor that's doing some landscaping, so hopefully you can still hear me and it's not too distracting. So I wanted to come on here to talk about freedom and liberation because, as mentioned in that post, I do have a stellium in Sagittarius, and Sagittarius energy is all about exploration, freedom, adventure, liberation, truth, and wisdom. And I have a stellium in the 5th house, and as mentioned in this post, the 5th house is the house of self-expression. It's the house of creativity, sensuality, playfulness, dating, romance, children. So I have a lot of energy in that house, and it's been a source of pain for me for a long period of time in my life because I've had to hide who I am, especially when it comes to more intimate relationships. So I'm attracted to both men and women. I find it hard to kind of put myself in a mold, and I never really saw myself in the traditional dating formats and such, and it's been hard. This is something I've kept private for a long time due to shame, due to guilt. Those close to me know this about myself, but this is the first time that I'm actually expressing this on a public platform because I think it's important. I think we're in a day and age now where we need people fearlessly expressing who they are and really putting their hearts on the line. And with me putting my heart on the line today, as I always do, I wanted to circle back and touch on authenticity as well, because authenticity is a buzzword that we keep hearing in society and in spiritual communities. And I spoke about authenticity in the past, and what I shared then is still how I feel now. It's that it's extremely difficult to be authentic when you don't feel safe or secure within your sense of self. So a lot of people hide and can't show who they genuinely are because they hold fear, because they feel unsafe. And so it's easy to judge people for being inauthentic, for hiding, but we don't really understand the underlying reasons as to why they're hiding. And the underlying reasons are usually fear and insecurity. And it's an understanding that as I speak about expression today, our expression is usually unfiltered and free during childhood till we begin to become conditioned. And the conditioning happens within society, at school, but primarily through our parents and our connections with siblings if we have some. And it's this dynamic that can stifle expression, creativity, and our sense of who we truly are. And it's during these development, wow, I can't say that word today. Developmental stages, there we go, that we develop masks and a false sense of self. That's where it happens, and it often happens on a subconscious level. So we're not entirely aware that this is happening. On a deeper level, we might feel uncomfortable. We might feel that we are hiding and that we're not being authentic and genuine, but we don't know how to break out of this mold. We don't know how to show up authentically anymore. And this is often because we have felt unsafe. and being our truest self. So in order to be authentic, we need to do inner healing and create a sense of safety and security within the self. And then once we feel safe and secure within oneself, we can then be authentic and fully express who we are. But at the same time, another note on self-expression is also understanding that some privacy can be tied to self-expression. So I have Scorpio in the 4th house. The 4th house is home, it's family, it's my roots, it's my ancestors. And this means that I tend to be very protective and private when it comes to my personal life. You don't know anything about me unless I want you to know. And it's understanding that self-expression is, how can I say this? Self-expression flows outwards. It's not something that can be forced. It's not something that can be demanded. It emanates from the soul. So the soul has to choose to come forward and express itself. And it can do so when it feels safe and secure. So with that being said, given that the full moon is in Sagittarius, and as mentioned, I have a Sagittarius stellium in the 5th house, I felt it appropriate to draw cards for the zodiac sign based on self-expression. So full moons are here to allow us an opportunity to release everything and anything that's no longer serving us. But full moons are also here to illuminate aspects of ourselves that we might not be aware of just yet. So with today's reading, my goal is to shed light on an aspect of your self-expression that might not be in your full awareness, and to also draw a moon affirmation card in the hopes of providing support and insight as you move forward. Because when we are stifling and limiting our self-expression, we're literally strangling our life force. We're hiding, we're wearing a mask, and though we might be wearing a mask or stifling our self-expression to keep peace with other people, we are causing a war within ourselves, and it's not worth it. People that truly love you, that care about you, are going to support you regardless of what your self-expression entails and looks like. People that truly love you and care about you are going to accept you for exactly who you are. So without further ado, let's get into it. So I am going to follow the zodiac astrological wheel. So we are going to begin with Aries. So if you have an Aries sun, moon, or rising, or stellium, or simply resonate with Aryan energy, this is going to be your message from the full moon. Oh, a lot of cards coming out. Okay, do I want to take this other one? I mean, I saw it, so we're just going to take it. So, Aries, the part of your self-expression that is being illuminated under this full moon is magic. Card 31. And it says, the frequency of magic supports our intrinsic ability to grow and expand beyond this moment, to move towards possibilities and expressions that are as grand and profound as we can imagine. All that is required is our belief in their manifestation. So I definitely feel that this card speaks for itself. Aries, as a fellow fire sign, can have a lot of pent-up energy. And if that energy is not expressed, it can lead to frustration. It can lead to stress. It can lead to anger. So there's a need for you, Aries, to find a healthy outlet to allow your expression out. This could be physical exercise. This could be more metaphysical practices, such as setting an altar or intentions. And then we also have alchemy. The frequency of alchemy activates our magical ability and remembrance of the magic that we all hold inside. Each one of us has the potential to access the ancient knowledge that allowed the true alchemist to perform the miracles of transmutation. So with this card coming out, Aries, there's a need for you to tap into your own sense of magic, and magic being a form of self-expression that you might be unaware of or not tapping into its fullest potential. And as mentioned, Aries is a fire sign, so fire magic could definitely be a form of expression that you need to tap into more often and more regularly. So this could look like lighting a candle every Tuesday, because Tuesday is the day ruled by Mars, and kind of setting intentions around your vitality, your energy level. If you feel that your energy has been waxing and waning and that you don't have enough energy to get through the day, casting powerful intentions, spells, manifestations around vitality and calling on your ruler, which is Mars, to come through and help you is going to be very powerful for your self-expression. And it's understanding that there needs to be a balance, because as mentioned, Aries is a fire sign and it can be impulsive, it can be impatient, it can be reckless. So look at these colors. We have the bright kind of flamboyant fire energy over here, but then we have the more subdued, gentle energies over here. So it's understanding, Aries, that if your expression right now isn't always being well received, maybe you need to shift into these higher kind of colors. Because if you think about it, the orange, the yellow, the red, these are our lower chakras. And then as we move into this magic card, we have the indigo, the purple, which is associated with the higher chakras. So for some of my Aries, your self-expression needs to be alchemized, needs to transmute into a higher octave. And for some of my Aries, it is shifting into that magician, that wizard, that enchantress. Whatever word feels good or resonates, there's a shift that needs to happen for you, Aries, in terms of self-expression. And it's allowing that shift to happen. For a lot of my Aries, I am picking up that there is still a lot of anger that's being harbored here in the lower chakras. And as mentioned, full moons are all about releasing. So you have a brilliant opportunity today to release this anger, because it's not serving you. It's keeping you stuck in these lower chakras. And your energy is desperately trying to move up your chakras right now. And that's why you're getting so frustrated. You're encountering so many obstacles and blocks and just feeling upset with life right now, is because this energy is being suppressed in the lower chakras and it's trying to rise up. So as mentioned, setting intentions, manifestations, casting spells, especially on Tuesdays, because that's Mars Day, is going to be helpful to you getting your energy to move upwards in your chakras. And as soon as your energy moves up here, you're going to feel more calm, you're going to feel more peace, you're going to be able to think a lot clearer. And the anger is naturally going to clear out, because right now, the image I'm getting, I don't know if you guys remember those trends of when people would put, what is it, like a menthol in like a Coke bottle and just wait for it to explode. That's what I'm getting for Aries energy with this card right now. So you're just like waiting to explode, but you have this portal, you have this energy here available to you to help move this energy. So, I mean, you can explode if you want to, if that's part of the self-expression you feel you need to experience and move through at this time. I'm not going to judge. I'm not one to stifle or limit anybody's expression. However, I'm here to highlight that there's a different path available should you choose to follow and pursue that one. And in terms of moon affirmation for Aries, we have, I think I want this one. We have, I choose to take a higher perspective and widen my views. And it says, moon god, I don't know how to say that, to Aries, rabbit on the moon. So I found that very synchronistic for Aries. So choose the higher perspective if that feels like the course of action you need to be taking at this point in time. So that was for Aries. We're now going to move into Taurus. So part of your self-expression that's being illuminated right now under the full moon. Interesting. Okay, so we have universal love. 44, and it says, the frequency of universal love activates the connection we feel to each other, to our planet, and to the whole of existence itself. And this card came out in reverse. So this signals to me that for most of my Taurians, you are not aware that you've I was gonna say you follow, but no, you carry the frequency of universal love within you. I'm getting kind of two timelines. So it's like my first group of Tauruses, you are aware that you carry a high frequency of love. You've always felt it within your heart chakra, but some of you have felt kind of intimidated and uncomfortable in terms of being so openly loving towards other people. And it's an understanding that Taurus is ruled by Venus. Venus is the planet of love. So it's natural for both Taurus and Libra, who are both ruled by Venus, to be loving in their mannerisms and in a way that is in alignment with who they are at a soul level. So for my first group of Tauruses, you're getting the clear message to express that love that you feel. Don't hold back. Don't be afraid of feeling guilt or shame or being mocked for being so loving, for being so open-hearted. And then for my other group of Tauruses, I'm getting that you've been blocking this energy. I'm sensing that some of you might have been openly loving as children, but you might have been kind of ridiculized or maybe bullied, so you shut down that frequency. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of my Tauruses in the second group have had kind of heart issues. You might get weird heartburn on occasion or heart palpitations, and it's because you have this universal frequency that wants to come through, but it's being blocked due to shame, to guilt, or a fear of just being laughed at. So the full moon is illuminating this frequency within you, Taurus, and there's a need to just open your heart for some of you, and for others, you need to clear out this blockage. So this full moon is a great opportunity for you to ask for support in regards to clearing this blockage, because you have a beautiful heart, Taurus. It's one of the purest ones, actually. I'm getting this really strange message coming through that you're part of this select group of souls that came through with this pure frequency, and it's located in your heart chakra, but you need to be open to this frequency. I'm also getting this could be a message just for some particular person, not necessarily all of you. This frequency, when it's not flowing, might cause technological issues and difficulties. So you might find that like your computer lags or just shuts down unexpectedly. That's an indication that this frequency is causing some kind of dissonance between you and technology because it's not flowing freely. So that was really interesting. And I also like that this is card 44. 4 symbolizes stability, its foundation, but then 4 plus 4 also gives us an 8. 8 is strength. So this is showing to you, Taurus, that love and universal love is one of your strengths, and there's a need to allow yourself to express this more often and to not be afraid. In terms of moon affirmation, let's see. Ooh, we have I let go, I release. I am within perfect possibility. Dark moon. So yeah, definitely a big opportunity here today for Taurus to just release whatever is blocking your heart chakra. Knowing that you're in perfect possibility. And as I mentioned earlier in this video, there's a need for you to step into your authenticity and create that sense of safety and stability within yourself. And once you feel secure within your sense of self, this love will naturally emanate without you having to try. All right, moving on to Gemini to see what aspect of your self-expression is being illuminated by the full moon. Oh, I love this. We have consciousness. The frequency of consciousness supports our ability to focus our attention on all the multi-dimensional aspects that show up so that we can include them in our reality. 17. So it's interesting because here we have the 1 and we have the 7. So 1 is an energy where we're kind of initiating. In the tarot, it's symbolized by the magician, and the magician is equipped with all elements, earth, water, fire, air, at its disposal in order to bring in and attract what they desire. So there's kind of this energy and portal opening up for Gemini in terms of consciousness and really focusing in on your manifestations and what you want to be calling in to your life. And 7 is a very spiritual number. We have 7 chakras. And it's understanding that your manifestations need to be aligned with your spirituality and where your soul wants to head. So it's focusing in on your heart and taking time to meditate and really focus on what it is your heart desires and what your soul desires, and not what your ego or mind think you should want or want to manifest. And then there's also the word multidimensional. We are in Gemini season, and Gemini is typically depicted as the twins and is a symbol of duality. So when we think of duality, we talk about masculine, feminine, hot, cold, black, white. So there's this sense of duality and multifacetedness coming through with this card, but it's also re-anchoring and rooting into consciousness and understanding that consciousness is the sum of all. So we could find duality some here as part of consciousness. We could find other aspects of ourself up here. We could find our hobbies. We could find our interests. And it's understanding that all those facets, all those dimensions of ourself fit into consciousness. So I'm kind of getting a wave and kind of this sense of energy for my Geminis today that you're going to be initiated into expanding your consciousness more. In regards to your sense of self, you might have been one-dimensional, thinking, well, I do this for a living, I'm this type of person. But you're going to kind of get a huge activation come through from spirit, God, the universe, whatever you want to call it. Starting today, you're going to start feeling those tingles come through. Because as mentioned, we have the full moon in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. We are Jupiter day, and Jupiter is about expansion, is about consciousness. And I was going to say unconsciousness. So for some of my Geminis, tapping into your unconscious could be interesting, especially with these blues here. I'm definitely feeling subconscious and unconscious vibes, and the need to start to dive into those aspects of yourself. Oh, this is really interesting. Okay, so I'm getting the imagery of like consciousness, subconsciousness, unconsciousness. And for a lot of my Geminis, you've been living in one dimension, which has been consciousness. So you're going to be invited to explore and expand when it comes to the different levels of consciousness, which is very interesting. Okay, let's see. Moon affirmation card. So if I were to summarize this in a form of self-expression for Gemini, it's expanding in terms of consciousness and expression of consciousness. Because again, I'm kind of getting that like 3D, one-dimensional aspect. So you might be like, I do this for a living. But spirit is like, you're actually so much more than that. And then you need to dive and explore and expand. And as you expand, you express more consciousness. All right, so your moon affirmation is, I accept that here now is exactly where I am, and that it is the place of profound learning. It's a beautiful card, actually. It's like a moon in the clouds. But it could also look like water if you look at it quickly, and waves. And I usually associate water with the subconscious. So a deep need for Gemini to dive into their subconscious and unconscious under this full moon. All right, so we're now going to move into Cancer. So Cancer, what aspect of your self-expression, wow, that flew out, wants to be illuminated under this full moon? Interesting. We have delight coming through. And this card says, the frequency of delight supports our capacity to create and experience feelings of intense joy and happiness. The more delight we feel, the more delight we evoke in others. Okay, so right away, just reading this card, Cancer, you are blocking this energy. A lot of my Cancers, I'm feeling you prevent yourself from expressing your delight because you're afraid of making others feel bad. So for some of my Cancers, you mask your joy and your happiness because you don't want to ruffle feathers or you don't want to upset others. But it's understanding that delight, joy, are some of the highest frequencies we can emanate. And when we emanate delight, when we emanate joy, that frequency sends out ripples and naturally impacts the people around us. So if you begin to embody this energy of delight, unfiltered, unashamed, you're naturally going to change the energetic dynamic of your environment. And that's powerful. So Cancer, part of your self-expression is this frequency of delight and joy, but also knowing how powerful that is and how powerful you are. Because Cancer, even though they are a cardinal sign, which means they are in a position to initiate, to lead, they can be a bit more timid compared to their cardinal counterparts. And Cancer, you have beautiful leadership qualities within you that emanate from your heart, that emanate from innocence and purity. And sharing your delight helps heal the world. So for Cancers under this full moon, it's owning your power and your ability to shift the energy in a mood. In a mood. Shift your mood too by tapping into this energy and this frequency, because it is at your disposal. And this frequency of delight lives within your sacral chakra. So your sacral chakra is located right beneath your navel, and it is the seat of creativity, of expression. I'd even say of artists. So having fun, expressing yourself, going out, playing, anywhere where you can really activate and tap into this frequency is going to be very supportive for you under this full moon and moving forward. So let's see, moon affirmation. It says, I am loved beyond measure, wanting crescent. And it's a super cute card. So again, for my Cancers that are feeling kind of timid and shy when it comes to boldly emanating this frequency, there's a need for you to just anchor into your heart and practice a lot of self-love and like self-soothing, self-care, and know that you are worthy of stepping up and of leading and showing this beauty that you radiate. And there's also a need for my Cancers to reprogram their minds when it comes to feeling safe. It's safe for you to be powerful, and it's safe for you to spread delight and joy. Step up, own your power, Cancer, because it's knocking on your door today. All right, so now we're going to move into Leo. So Leo is self-expression that wants to be illuminated under this full moon. Let's see. Oh, that interesting. Okay, so the same card came out for Taurus. We have Universal Love, card 44, and it says, the frequency of universal love activates the connection we feel to each other, to our planet, and to the whole of existence itself. So similar to Taurus, Leos exude universal love. I'd say Leos are associated with the heart chakra, but in a completely different way than Taurus and Libra are associated. So when we think of Leo energy, we think of the solar plexus. The solar plexus is located right above your belly button, and it's yellow. It radiates confidence and self-esteem, and it's your inner sun. But here's the thing, and this is the imagery I'm getting. I'm going to do my best to put it into words. So when we think about Taurus and Libra being ruled by Venus, we think of the heart chakra being this royal emerald green, and we might even think of the higher heart chakra, which is pink. Those are the colors I see when I think of Taurus and Libra. When I think of Leo, I see this beautiful sunlight that's just this gold color, and it just radiates upwards and envelops the heart in this gold glow. So when we're talking about Leo energy, we're talking more so about this golden glow to the heart chakra. And that's the energy that comes through with this card for my Leos. So the part of your self-expression, Leos, that wants to come through, and this is a very specific word that wants to come through, is your goddess frequency. And it emanates from your heart. But your heart is fed by your solar plexus. So this means my Leos need to be confident. They need to be secure in who they are and in their self-expression. And as soon as you as a Leo are secure, comfortable, and confident, your heart is just going to glow with this golden color. And it's this golden color that naturally magnetizes and attracts into your life exactly what you need and desire. And I'm also getting that when you shift those colors within your chakras, that golden glow can actually go and envelop all of your chakras. And then you can emanate what's called the golden ray. And this is a specific frequency, and I'd say it's kind of tied into consciousness because it's a different level of being. And when we think of Leos in their light attributes, we think of purity, we think of innocence, and it's understanding that those energies are anchored within your golden heart. So when you're able to express those energies freely, you tap into true freedom and liberation. And it's this freedom, this liberation that allows your own God and goddess essence to take over. So other people might refer to this energy as your higher self. So whatever resonates you, Leo, but it's about understanding that your heart is the center of your power, of your light, and it's fed by your solar plexus. So if you're having a hard time expressing your heart, chances are you might have to work a little bit more on your solar plexus and really let that heat come up and illuminate your heart. Because I'm getting that for my Leos, there's a huge heart activation that wants to take place today, and it's going to continue into Leo season, but you need to be open to it because a lot of my Leos, you're being called forth to set foot in your own kingdom, to take a seat on your throne, and to reclaim those aspects of yourself, to reclaim your inner god or goddess, however that resonates for you. So there's a big calling that's going to be happening for Leo. I keep seeing like a phone ringing, and it's going to require more from you. It's going to require more power, more confidence, more security in who you think and know yourself to be. And I find it interesting that the word think came through because think versus know. Thinking something is not as strong as knowing who you are. So I'm sensing that for some of my Leos, there's kind of this ambivalence between who you think you are and who you know you are. So under this full moon, as mentioned, full moons are about releasing. It's releasing who you think you are to become who you know you are. And I'm seeing this imagery of Simba in The Lion King when he gets like chased away. And then the moment when he returns to like claim his pride. And it's understanding that some of my Leos, you're in that first kind of imagery still of being chased out and being kind of uncertain and needing time to figure out who you truly are. Whereas others of my Leos, it's time for you to just come back and claim your pride, whatever that looks like to you. And do so out of love, and everything is going to be just fine. So let's see your affirmation card. Ooh, I love this. We have, I will persist. My will is strong. Waxing gibbous. And it's interesting because the affirmation I will is associated with the solar plexus. So Leos, I will. You will what? Take some time and tap into that energy because it's being activated at this time. And in terms of ascension symptoms you might be experiencing, you might be feeling some discomfort in that area of the body. It's because your solar plexus is going through an activation and is going through a purge also. So if there's any limiting beliefs you want to release, don't be afraid to be active about it. Write it down. Say it out loud. Be like, I release not knowing my worth or not knowing my power, or I release any blockages when it comes to claiming what I truly want. Whatever resonates for you today and at this time, express that, because the universe is listening. All right, so we are now going to move into Virgo. So aspect of expression for Virgo that's being illuminated under this full moon. Ooh, interesting. So we have the sacral chakra coming out for Virgo. We have the frequency of the sacral chakra, the orange flower of life, supports our ability to flow with our desires and stimulates our creative power to manifest success and abundance in our lives. So I love that this energy is coming forward for Virgo. And I believe that this is going to be a powerful activation coming through because, and this is a personal note, so a couple Virgos that I have encountered in my life have been uptight and just resistant to flowing, to expressing, to indulging, and allowing more pleasure to flow into their life. And that usually indicates blockages in regards to the sacral chakra, because the sacral chakra is our center of pleasure, of receptivity, of sensuality. So if these are aspects of yourself that you struggle to express, Virgo, this chakra is calling out for a cleanse. There's a need to tap into your sacred feminine energy, because the sacral chakra is a feminine polarity. And when we're in a feminine polarity, it's about receiving, allowing, trusting, and flowing. So there's a need for Virgo underneath this full moon to flow more, to maybe practice more sensuality with yourself, maybe dance, paint, take a bath, anything that involves beauty, where you can relax and just be in your feminine essence, is going to be very supportive for you, Virgo, under this full moon. And there's a need to release criticism and judgment also. Hi, beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us. Your timing couldn't be better. I'm doing Virgo right now. So, as mentioned, Virgo, there's a need to just flow. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. There's a need for you to just flow with this energy and to just reconnect with your inner fire. And we think of femininity as being water, which is, but under this full moon, there's also fire coming through, and the sacral is orange. So there's a need to blend in that fire, that steaminess, that passion with that smooth flow. I'm also hearing eroticism, to just really indulge in those energies under this full moon, and to release any shame or guilt you might be experiencing around your body and what you look like. Virgos can be very harsh when it comes to their appearance and what they look like. And it's interesting because even though Virgos can be very critical towards others, they're even more critical towards themselves. And this full moon is saying, let it go. Dance with your inner divine goddess, your femininity. Let that shit flow. This is the expression that wants to be illuminated for you under this full moon. Release the judgment, release the shame. Move your body. I'm really getting the message. There needs to be movement. Shake your hips, shake your body, and put on your favorite music and allow yourself to move. Because I'm also getting that there's kind of energy that's kind of being stored in the sacral chakra, and the best way for you to clear it is through artistic expression. So either actively painting, creating, but I'm getting dancing, moving your body. And in terms of moon affirmation, let's see what we get for Virgo. We have, I am courageous and powerful. which I absolutely love. And again, we're kind of getting those kind of orangey colors coming through with the lion's mane. So there's definitely a need to pay attention to your sacral chakra, Virgo, under this full moon, and to just tap into that Sag energy, you know. Sacral starts with an S. Sagittarius, you know, like I'm really getting these fiery, kind of ambery vibes coming through. So tapping in not only into your sacral chakra, but also where Sagittarius is sitting in your chart. Interestingly enough, tapping into where Sagittarius sits in your birth chart is going to help alleviate some of that criticalness you've been harboring and burning it up. Right? So you can kind of visualize writing down on paper all the aspects of yourself that you criticize, that you judge, that you hold shame about, burning it. And letting the Sagittarius full moon completely clear it out of your life. All right, so that was for Virgo. We are now going to move into Libra and see what aspect of your self-expression is being illuminated. Interesting. Okay, so we have soul time. And it says, the frequency of soul time asks us to allow the possibility of a new reality to emerge, one that embraces the concept that, while the corporeal body is mortal, the soul is timeless, limitless, and infinite. Alright, so I'm already getting a shit ton of messages coming through just with this card alone. So I'm definitely sensing that some of my Libras have been feeling maybe impatient, restless, some maybe reckless in regards to the outcome of something. And this full moon is saying you need to release that restlessness, that impatience. Whatever it is that you want to call in or hasn't come into your life just yet is going to come. But the more you kind of resist and cause this friction, the more you're actually delaying it. Because interestingly enough, with the 40, I'm feeling friction between these numbers. And it's interesting because you have the 0, which is new beginnings, but then you have the 4, which is stability, which can represent a structure, a foundation. So to me, this is indicating that the restlessness, the impatience has to do with a structure, an internal structure. So this is more like a metaphorical structure. It's not like a legit structure you need to go and break down like a building. It's internal. So there's a block happening in regards to this new beginning that you want to call in, and it's causing you to feel that you might be running out of time in regards to whatever this is. And Spirit is coming through to say, take a breath. It's coming. Yeah, definitely. I love that. Fool card for Gemini season. Yeah, well, that new beginning, it's here, baby, but it's just there's this block happening with the 4 there. And it's interesting because the 4 is before the 0. So this structure, whatever it is, needs to be released. And I'm sensing, this is very interesting. Okay, Saturn is coming through to say that that's where the block is. And it fits because it's soul time and Saturn rules time. So there's a block in regards to Saturn right now, and Saturn is here to teach us lessons, usually karmic in nature. Until we master Saturn's lessons, we cannot move forward. And Saturn can be a very frustrating planet to work with for that reason. But the thing with Saturn is, as soon as we show ourselves open and ready to be the student, ready to learn and to listen, Saturn can actually be very patient and very wise in how he hands out these soul lessons, and can actually help us move through those karmic lessons a lot quicker. But we need to let him have his way. So if you're fighting time, you're fighting Saturn, and he's just going to buckle down into that structure, that foundation, even harder, and basically make your life harder. So if you're tired of your life being harder, there's a need for Libra here to connect with Saturn. And I'm getting the sense of doing so in meditation could be helpful. Oh, the irony. Yeah. Yeah, so definitely moving through a soul lesson in regards to that. That's amazing. Yes, definitely. Because I'm definitely feeling that Saturn wants to come through during meditation, especially. And on Saturdays, right? Because Saturn rules Saturdays. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're getting back into meditating. But I mean, sometimes we all need to just take that time away from certain spiritual practices. And then they call us back into practice when the timing is right. And I feel that the timing is right, pun intended, with time being here. I'm trying to see if I'm getting anything else from this card. The last message, and this is super random, that wants to come through has to do with bugs and insects. So I'm not sure if frustration or restlessness has to do with bugs or insects or something, or there's been a lot of bugs or insects around you lately, or a specific bug you keep seeing or insect. But pay attention. If there's a certain insect you keep seeing over and over again, this is Saturn trying to speak out to you. So if there's a certain insect you keep seeing, look up the symbolic meaning of that insect, because chances are there's a message there for you. Lastly, as I'm holding this card like this for you guys, I'm seeing an eye. So there's something you're not seeing quite yet, and it's going to be coming through. Your eyes are going to be opened. I'm definitely sensing that there's a big aha moment that's going to be coming through for Libra. In the next coming weeks is more so the timeline I'm seeing right now, but obviously timelines aren't really real, so it could be sooner or later than that. But you'll know, and you'll definitely feel that like your eyes just got opened. All right, so moon affirmation for Libra. I invite peace within myself. I ripple this outwards. So there's definitely a need for Libra to reconnect with the frequency and energy of peace and allowing the divine its time. I was feeling frustrated. I think it was like yesterday or the day before. I was having a moment and I drew a card and said surrender to the divine, and that imagery is popping into my brain right now. So for Libra, there's a need for you to surrender to the divine under this full moon in Sagittarius, and to practice peace as much as possible. I love that. I love that synchronicity. So definitely pay attention to those numbers moving forward, I'd say, because it's definitely connected to what we've just been talking about. All right, so now we're going to move into Scorpio. So Scorpio, part of your self-expression that's being illuminated under this full moon. And soul time flipped out again for Scorpio. So it says, the frequency of soul time asks us to allow the possibility of a new reality to emerge, one that embraces the concept that while the corporal body is mortal, the soul is timeless, limitless, and infinite. So interestingly enough, I'm feeling similar energy to Libra carry over into Scorpio energy, but I'm more so feeling this restlessness when it comes to career advancements. And there's a sense that time is running out. You might not have enough employees working under you. You might not feel that you're making enough money. And this full moon is illuminating your need to connect with your soul more and to release your over attachment to the 3D. Because my Scorpios, if you've recently developed health issues in the last couple months, it's because you are not listening to your soul. You're driving yourself into the ground to get nowhere fast. And that is the clearest message that's coming through. Nowhere fast. For some of you, and this wants to come through, possibly an early grave due to health conditions because you are not taking care of yourself. And I'm not saying you're going to die. Like, that's not it. I'm saying you're on a pathway that might lead to that if you don't change your course right now. Because a lot of my Scorpios, you have been bypassing your soul and what it has to share with you. It's been calling, and the call has been intense, and you're not listening. And this whole sense of limited time and not having enough money, it's all an illusion. It's not real. But you need to connect with your soul in order to feel and know that. And I'm also seeing the eye here for Scorpio. So for a lot of my Scorpios, you're deliberately keeping your eyes closed when it comes to spirituality or your soul. Because as I'm saying this, Scorpios have a natural knack for being very gifted intuitively, having very strong psychic senses. But if you're not listening to that, that energy is just going to overtake you and cause issues. And I'm getting, for some of you, you might even be experiencing like hauntings, just having entities coming through and stuff like that, and you not knowing what to do. It's because there's a dissonance going on within your energetic field, and it's because you're not paying attention to your psychic senses and the messages that want to come through. You're still trying to act like a muggle when you're a witch or wizard. And it's realizing that under this full moon, Sagittarius is actually inviting you to release this muggle energy that you're still carrying. Because Sagittarius is like, yo, like, what are you doing? You're not a muggle. You know, like, you actually got a letter to go to Hogwarts, but you just ignored it because you were busy making money. Like, who does that? I'm not going to judge, but, like, you know, it's Hogwarts, and they've come a knocking, and you're just like, no, I'm just going to focus on this money right now. But money will only take you so far. Magic, being able to manifest, alchemize, is going to take you a lot further. And also bring you more joy and fulfillment, because I'm getting that a lot of my Scorpios, though you might be very successful financially, you're not the happiest. And money is not going to make you happy. More of it's not going to make you happy. Living from your soul is where the happiness is. And interestingly enough, with the 4 and the 0 here, because that's how I'm reading it, 4 is stability. In the tarot, 4 is the Emperor. So should you shift into your soul, you have the opportunity to actually be very successful when it comes to being in your psychic gifts and abilities, and to really be a leader. And as soon as you make that shift from your 3D self into your 5D self, operating from your soul as opposed to your ego, your status is actually naturally going to amplify your reach, your success, because you're going to be rooted exactly where you are meant to be rooted. And I'm also getting the word false sense of self. So for some of my Scorpios, you might actually be having some mental health issues because you are not in alignment with your soul. You're pretending to be someone you are not. So there's this big need to reconnect with your soul. And as soon as you do that, you're going to become a figure of authority, even if you need to shift careers. So there's a lot of power within you, Scorpio, and you're going to get that new beginning too. It's going to effortlessly come your way as soon as you accept that you are powerful at a soul level and that this is where your richness is. All right, so that was for, I was going to say Leo, but no, that was Scorpio. Interesting that that came out. Then your affirmation card is, interesting, I let go of the anxieties of others. Micro moon. So for some of my Scorpios, you might be overly preoccupied with what people think about you when it comes to your job, your vocation, your status. But I'm telling you right now, you are not going to find fulfillment or joy caring about the anxieties of others in the long run. We're now going to move into Sagittarius. So Sagittarius, what aspect of your self-expression is being illuminated under this full moon? Interesting. So we have discernment. The frequency of discernment supports our ability to view the world and the people around us from a place of inner balance and detachment, yet with compassion and wisdom. This card came out in reverse. So what I'm sensing for Sagittarius, though the full moon is in your sign right now, I'm getting the sense that you might not be seeing things completely clearly at this time, with discernment being in reverse. So there's kind of a need to take a step back and to practice more introspection and self-reflection at this time. I'm getting the sense that you have very powerful guides that want to come through. And I actually had the word animal in my brain. So you might have a new animal guide that wants to come through. And interestingly enough, I'm kind of seeing a spider here. So spider might be one of your animal guides that wants to come through moving forward. But you need to let them. And I know spiders can be creepy. I myself have been working on my relationship with spiders. It's not easy. It's the legs, it's how quickly they move, it's the whole shebang. But Sagittarius, you have spider coming through as an animal, a spirit guide that wants to help unlock more. I'm hearing of your divine mission and soul purpose. Whatever that means to you, but that was a specific message that wanted to come through. And I'm also getting that you're really surrounded by like different kind of galactic councils too. And I'm seeing all these little dots as like different souls, different beings. A lot of them aren't incarnated in this realm. They're in other dimensions and under other realms. These could be angels. I'm not really getting passed on loved ones, but more so just like galactic beings. So you might identify with being a starseed, and you have like starseed like family members that haven't incarnated here on Earth that are watching over you and trying to communicate through spiders for some of you. Yeah, so definitely a tricky relationship to try and navigate spiders, but it's coming through strongly for Sagittarius. And with it coming in reverse, I'm getting a subconscious hit. And this is telling me that you need to pay attention to your dreams, especially if you see a spider or something that makes you think of a spider before bed. Do your best to pay attention to your dreams, because your dreams are going to correlate to what the spider is trying to communicate to you. Again, I know that might be uncomfortable, but like do your best to just be open and receptive to it. Because I'm kind of getting there's like a huge energetic download and shift that wants to happen for Sagittarius under this full moon. It has to do with spiders. It's uncomfortable. And indirectly, this makes me realize that there's a fear that needs to be confronted and dealt with. And if you can be courageous and brave enough to deal with this fear, you're going to be rewarded. So I'm sensing that there's like an opportunity that's going to come your way as soon as you kind of master this fear, or take that first baby step to master this fear. A huge reward is going to be coming. And this is unexpected. You don't see this coming yet, because as you see, it's encircled by this darker color here. This to me is symbolizing that this reward, whatever this is, it's currently veiled. You can't see it. It's being kept away from your eyes for now. You need to just work on connecting with these guides that want to come through and allowing Spider to guide you. And I'm also getting that right now, a lot of my Sagittarius is you might also be feeling in the dark about a lot of things, and that's deliberate. And interestingly enough, we have the 2 and the 0 here. So the 2 in the tarot symbolizes the High Priestess. And then we have the 0. And right now, as I look at this card upside down, I'm seeing the 2 and then the 0. So the 2 is showing me that the universe is playing the role of the High Priestess right now by keeping things veiled and hidden from you. And that you might be currently feeling like a bit of a fool right now because you can't see anything. But it's knowing that you are currently in this loving embrace of the universe. You see how there's like this paler blue in the middle, and then it's like a dark blue? You're being held, supported, and cradled by the universe, even though you might not feel that way right now. I know, I haven't personally always been feeling that way this week. But that's what's coming through. The universe is deliberately keeping stuff from you for your own protection and well-being. And things will be revealed in due time. But for now, work on this relationship with Spider. And this reward will be coming. All right, that was a very interesting message for Sagittarius. Let's see, moon affirmation. Interesting, we had the same card come through for Leo. It says, I will persist, my will is strong. So persist if you are afraid of spiders. I would say that it is worth it, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm not there yet either. So it's a journey we can take together, conquering our fear of spiders. So those are the messages I had for Sagittarius. We're now going to move into Capricorn. So aspect of your self-expression that is being illuminated under this full moon for Capricorn. Interesting. Okay, so we have Gaia coming through for Capricorn. That is a huge wasp. Okay, wasps could be significant for Capricorn. It was like this big. That was a gigantic wasp. Oh my god. Okay, anyways. Gaia coming through. Nature, insects, of course. So this card says, the frequency of Gaia reminds us that we're infinitely connected to one another, just as we are to our great mother and to the universe that birthed us all. So I'm getting different messages come through for Capricorn. I'm going to take some time to just download the messages so I could speak it in a way that makes sense. Bugs that fly, right up there with the spider fear. Yeah, I mean, some bugs that fly I'm okay with, but like other ones are just like, it's a no for me. Like, I'm trying to work on my fear personally with June bugs. I used to love them as a child. I used to let them crawl all over me. There's even pictures of me as a child where I would have these bugs all over, and I loved it. And now I'm like, get away. So I need to work on that aspect of myself and just reclaim it and release the fear. But it's a work in progress. So Capricorn, Gaia energy coming through. And with me being a Capricorn sun, there's definitely some reclaiming that needs to be done when it comes to your more natural self. And I'm hearing your natural impulses. I'm hearing pleasure. I'm hearing indulgence. So if there's aspects of yourself, especially when it comes to your sexuality, that you're hiding and running away from, Capricorn, it's going to come knocking. And the knock is not going to be pleasant unless you start to tap into this energy and own who you are. Because as I began this live, I was talking about how we need to reclaim our self-expression. And for me personally, it's had a lot to do with my sensuality, my sexuality, and it's been uncomfortable. But the more I reclaim, the more I express and allow, the easier it's kind of gotten. But easy wouldn't be the right word. It's become, I'd say, more important for me to express those aspects of myself. So what I'm getting for Capricorn here is there's a need to really express your more sensual, earthy nature, especially when it comes to your sensuality and your sexuality. So if you've been sexually repressed because you're not pursuing what feels good to you, I'm sensing not similar to Aries, but like an explosion is going to be coming your way if you don't allow this expression out. Because it's just been building and building and building. And a lot of people might not know this about Capricorn, but Capricorn is actually a very sexual zodiac sign. And some might even argue more sexual than Scorpio. So because we've kind of mainstreamed Scorpios being the more sexual sign and energy, Capricorn can kind of have not necessarily more of a hard time or more challenges when it comes to reclaiming this aspect of themselves, but feel more resistance, right? Because Scorpio, when it comes to their sexuality, they're a water sign. So they can flow with their sexuality a lot easier than Capricorn, which is an earth sign. So earth energy can have a lot of resistance to its sexuality, to what feels good, to its indulgences, to its darker desires. So there's a need for Capricorns to really tap into these darker desires that have to do with pleasure and sexuality under this full moon, and to allow, to indulge, to experience. And if you're in a current relationship dynamic that does not allow that expression, it is stifling you. And there's a big push from Spirit that's saying either you can leave and exit that relationship, or something's going to happen in the near future that is going to force you to leave. Because Spirit loves you, Capricorn. They're not going to allow you to stifle who you are and hide away. You have big energy to offer the collective, especially being an earth sign. Stability, foundation. But in order to offer the full extent of that stability and that foundation, you need to be in your fullest expression. And what's coming through under this full moon, it's full expression when it comes to pleasure and sexuality. Because if you think about it, like, and this might be overly erotic for some, but like I think of Gaia as like the original creatrix, you know, like she just birthed everything. But in order to birth something, there's usually intercourse or something that happens, you know. And I know I'm kind of associating like energies with like the human act and stuff like that, but that's just to illustrate this energy that I'm feeling moving through Capricorn right now that needs to be allowed out. So Capricorn, go out, have fun, be sensual, allow yourself this expression. Don't feel shame around your body, the way you look like, the way you move. And hopefully if you're in a relationship, your partner is supportive. And if you're single, just have fun. Have fun, Capricorn. There's a need for you to lighten up. Interesting. Okay, so your affirmation, Capricorn, is I see the gateway is open and the pathway is clear. My journey begins. And yeah, I like ladybugs and dragonflies. They're cool too. I like butterflies too. So I'm kind of sensing, Capricorn, you're in this dark kind of area when it comes to pleasure and sexuality, but there's light on the horizon. You just need to open the door and walk through it. Express yourself, literally. Your pathway is clear and your journey can begin, but you need to allow it. All right, so we're moving into Aquarius. So aspect of Aquarius that is being illuminated under this full moon. Aquarian self-expression. Let's see. Feeling this one. Interesting. Okay. We have fertility coming through for Aquarius. The frequency of fertility invites us to be more open, more courageous, more creative, and more joyful than we were before. It activates the potential for something beautiful to grow from our consciousness into a new and grander expression of ourselves. So the full moon is definitely highlighting new ideas for Aquarius and fertility. If you're looking to conceive or have children, that is in the cards for you at this time, Aquarius. But it's understanding that fertility can also mean projects. It can also mean creativity. And it's interesting because as I hold this card up, I'm seeing the different shapes. So we have like circles, we have a flower, we have like a diamond shape, we have a square, we have another circle. So there's a bunch of different moving parts coming forward and that are being illuminated for Aquarius under this full moon. And I'm sensing when it comes to self-expression, usually Aquarians are fairly liberal when it comes to expressing themselves. They usually don't have a hard time expressing who they are. They usually don't hold back for the most part. But I'm getting the sense with this card for Aquarius, there's a need for you to be a leader when it comes to this energy. You do it so effortlessly, just express who you are. And it's probably because you're an air sign, and air signs can be a bit more detached than the average person. But there's a need for you to kind of inspire other souls through this creative blossoming expression. I'm seeing you as the star here, Aquarius, and other souls here just looking at you in awe and your ability to just be fully yourself. And I'm getting the message that it's up to you, Aquarius, and if this resonates, to come back through this maze of expression you've created to help guide these other souls so they can figure out, okay, does my soul want to do a butterfly or like a diamond or circles, or how does my soul actually want to express itself, or how does a soul express itself? Because Aquarius, it comes so naturally to you, you might not completely realize why others struggle with this aspect. But know that when you connect with your throat chakra and your heart, you have the ability to help guide others. And that should helping others be something you're looking to do, it's going to be very prosperous for you to do so. It's very fertile for you to begin such a project at this time, especially under this full moon in Sagittarius. So be bold. If you want to help others express themselves, do so. This is confirmation for some of you. And then in terms of moon affirmation, we have, interesting, I know myself deeply and find myself worthy. Eclipse. So again, tying in to the fact that you do know yourself, Aquarius. And maybe it's feelings of worth that have been preventing you from truly stepping into this role and helping others. So this full moon is encouraging you to shed maybe these feelings of worthlessness so you can step into your full worth, knowing who you are, and help others through this maze that is called life. So that's what I was getting for Aquarius. We're now going to move into Pisces. So aspect of self-expression for Pisces that is being illuminated under this full moon. Interesting. We have root chakra coming through for Pisces. It says the frequency of the root chakra, the red flower of life, stimulates passion and supports our sense of security on this physical plane, both in our bodies as well as in the physical world. So the first kind of intuitive hit I'm getting with this card is that for a lot of my Pisces, you're more comfortable in the spiritual realm, but it's understanding that if you've incarnated with Pisces in your top 3, you're a spiritual master that has descended and chose to incarnate and densify your energy into this 3D realm. And though it's been difficult for you to adjust to the energies of this 3D dimension because of how harsh it is, you are actually masters that have descended here to help the collective. And that as soon as you make that switch to tap into being the ascended master for some of you, as soon as you make that switch to start embodying that frequency, your root chakra is going to get cleared and activated like that. And as much as Pisces might struggle in this realm, you have access to stability. You have access to your root chakra. But you need to make that choice. You need to make a different choice. If you have been deciding that life is difficult, life is challenging, people aren't loving enough, aren't open enough, this is blocking that energy flow from the spiritual realm into the earthly realm and into your root chakra. But as soon as you make that commitment, that decision, and say, I am an ascended master, I am a spiritual guide or teacher, or whatever resonates, your root chakra is naturally going to open and flow into Gaia, and you're going to feel stable and secure. And if you've had any troubles in terms of relationships, occupations, or career, that is going to clear out almost instantly. Because Pisces, you're actually very powerful. I know the zodiac tends to depict you as overly sensitive, crybabies for some of you, but you are actually very, very powerful. And you're deliberately blocked so you don't access that power. But I'm telling you right now, that power wants to be seen, it wants to be expressed, and it's based in your root chakra. And that's available to you under this full moon. Okay, that was a intense message that wanted to come through for Pisces. And yeah, if I look away, it's because I'm just receiving a channel and I don't want to get distracted by anything. So I just focus in on nothing really, or just a point in time, and allow the messages to come through. So that was a lot for Pisces. And again, there's just been this kind of discrepancy because Pisces are actually very powerful. They are our ancient healers, our priestesses, our priests that have chosen again to come here to Earth when Earth has not been very kind to you in the past. So for a lot of my Pisces, you might be carrying wounds in your root chakra in regards to past lives. But again, it's understanding that you can make a snap decision. That's how powerful you are. And you can actually clear out this root chakra. Okay, so that was intense for Pisces. Let's see. Moon affirmation. I'm feeling this one. Interesting. Okay, same affirmation card as Aquarius. I know myself deeply and find myself worthy. So for a lot of my Pisces, you do know yourself deeply. And again, we have these similar colors coming through to the root chakra here. You do know yourself, but for some of you, you're holding back your power. And for some of you, it has to do with worthiness. So you need to heal and release these. I'm not feeling a complete block, but light blockages that you have within your heart chakra. And as soon as you clear those out, it's going to help amplify and really support your root chakra. I'm so happy to hear that. Yes, exactly. Pisces, you need to choose yourself for sure. That's the energy that leads, and it heals everything. So those are all the messages that wanted to come through for the zodiac signs under this full moon in Sagittarius. Feel free to let me know in the comments how this resonated or didn't resonate. I would love to hear from you. I'm sending you all so much love, and express yourself. Don't hold back. Be the truth of who you know yourself to be.